Good evening, free enterprise friends, and welcome back to the weekly community race. My name is Pixel Tamer. I'm joined by Antidote in the booth. We've got Elliot's 5891 tracking and Leggy Starscream giving us the pretty pictures. How are you doing tonight, Antidote?
Doing good. Enjoying what, or at least getting ready to enjoy what should be a pretty fun, slightly more difficult seed than we normally have had in some of the most recent community races. A lot of bosses to hunt. We start with Iridia, who's a little bit less powerful than maybe like an Edge or someone else who can be out there. So we definitely saw from Monday night that this was a little bit of a slow start, and I expect that to be about the same unless we do find an Edge pretty early.
Yeah, we've got C-Relax, so it's possible we could find that very quick edge, but who can say? One thing that I think is really interesting about this flag set is you don't normally see both C Permajoin and C Buy in the weekly community race. That is a typically more advanced set of character flags.
Yeah, so I mean that anyone we take, pretty much you get one chance at any particular spot, so you can choose to take the person or not. Once they're in your party, they're in forever. But if you choose not to take them, they don't go to the tower, which is they go wander off and join a different seed entirely because you didn't want them.
Yeah, so depending on the spot, we might see some of our runners seeing somebody and be like, "Yeah, I want them, but not right now, and I'm going to save scum that slot later."
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And of course, we do have a little bit of a theme tonight. This is Rydia against the evil Baron hordes who have attacked her Mist Village. So that's why we are. She's kind of gathering up the power. That's why we're defeating D-Mist and Asura and all the other summons, so that she can gather her power and then liberating Baron Castle and freeing the Blue Planet from the tyranny of the Baron armies.
That's right. As a consequence, we are not going to find any of the characters who call Baron home in this flag set. We're not going to have a Cecil. We're not going to have a Kane, Rosa, or Sid. We're also not going to get any help from Fusoya. I guess because there's no Lunarians involved in this war, he's just not interested.
Yeah, without Cecil to go up and call him and say, "Hey, Uncle," I guess we don't get him in the story. But we can have Tella and Edward. We can have both twins. We can get Edge. We can get Rydia. We can get Yang. So there's plenty of power available. Although, like we said earlier, it's a little bit slow going. Some of it. We do also have some Wildest Treasure, so the treasure can be really good that they get out of loot boxes. But we're at sparse 50, so only half of them will be openable. The other half will be open before we even get there. So not a whole lot of great stuff, but there's a possibility of it. And then shops are standard shops, so we can get some reasonably decent stuff there. But we also sell things for quarter price. So again, it's a little bit harder to get stuff. It's what we do find and can sell is going to sell for less than we normally would expect.
Although, to be fair, some of the stuff we're going to be selling is going to be more expensive than usual because, we have nobody who can use heavy armor, and some of those heavy armors are pretty expensive.
That's true. Fine crystal armor, definitely sell. Fine dragoon armor, also definitely sell. And that's a little bit more rare because normally you kind of hold on to at least one piece of dragoon gear just for that status equipment and the magic resist. But we get Rydia, we get Edward, team 90 HP, let's go.
Oh, and there's our Baron key immediately.
Yeah, Evil Wall says, "Come on, come at me, bro."
I await your challenge.
And it looks like only Harumph decides to take Edward into the party. Everyone else is going at it just alone. Rydia, 30 HP, and a dream and vengeance in her heart.
Yes, we do have that spoon flag turned on, so that Edward could pay off if we find it to turn them into a madman of cutlery.
Indeed, he will enjoy cutting somebody's heart out with a spoon if he gets it.
So where do you think our runners are going to go first?
I would definitely be looking for some places to loot, maybe the back of the Watery Pass, or just the Watery Pass overall in general. Could, as Pops and Morpheus is doing, just go to Baron, get some loot, get some idea of who the character is at the inn is also a pretty good idea.
Yeah, Watery Pass was definitely popular during Zima Zone 3 as far as looting and recruitment goes, and we see Leg guarding Edge over on Baron Inn.
Yeah, so that could either be elements or that could be the full leg itself. Neither one of them particularly happy early with Rydia here. Even though there's only a little bit of HP there, it's more than Rydia can do damage for currently.
Yeah, and it would be really hard for her to get the first turn anyway at level 1.
Yep, and Harumph is diving towards Evelyn Castle, braving those trap chests, going to just reset out of any ones that show up and pick up what is also some pretty elevated loot there as well.
Right, I want to say that Eblin Castle is the best ungated loot you can get because it's an incentivized location that also has trap chests.
Yep, it's just a little more prone to resets because of those 3 trap chests. And you're going to see more resets out of there than you normally might because we only have half the non-trapped loot boxes full. So it's one of those, it's a little bit of a gamble to do that because your percentage of getting a trap chest is much higher than it normally would be.
That's right, it is 50% of the non-trapped chests that have been looted by those dastardly forces of Baron.
And we get a Kaka spell from Mount Hobbs. If we do get a Siren, that could be very, very useful because that actually will one-shot the eggs once we get underground. But right now, not the most useful of the possible summons, but not the worst.
Yeah, I saw that spell recently for the first time, and I was like, oh yeah, we do have the dummied out summons in. I'm just not used to seeing them.
Yep, it definitely gives Rydia a nice little one-on-one advantage against like the Baron guards or the Hypo guards, or really pretty much anything without the boss bit. And that is a very nice find here. We get a Palom and a Bahamut on top of Hobbs.
Yeah, so not only is this a required spot, but we also get the Quake Kid, the best black mage we have available in this seed.
Yep, and also a very easy kill with those Star Veils that we come pre-given to us out of the basic starter kit.
Yeah, and Chad is calling out that the Sylph summon was found in Eblin Castle. Why is that so important?
Well, if you do what Harumph is doing and moving Rydia out of the center spot, and we do have the Sylph glitch available to us, Rydia won't actually use any MP in casting it when she's not in the middle slot. So I mean, she'll be able to cast it forever and ever, ever and ever and ever, and it does about virus level damage. And I see he also had a Stardust Rod when he was moving that around, so that's pretty nice too.
Yeah, but also equipping the Heroine robe on Rydia, so negating some of those intelligence bonuses from to trade them off for physical bonuses.
Yep, and also speed early. It's a pretty good trade-off until probably you're done through ordeals, and then I maybe would switch it back. But I think it's a pretty good trade-off there to kind of ditch your bonus from the Stardust Rod with extra speed and defense to keep Rydia alive.
And, I think if you use the Stardust Rod as an item, it doesn't care what her stats are.
Correct. All the item usages use just the pre-baked-in value for whatever that particular item is. So it doesn't matter who's using a Dancing Dagger, it'll do the same range of damage. It doesn't matter what level Kane is, his White Spear will do the same thing within its range.
But Rydia, with the Heron robe, could turn it into a formidable fighter if we get her a good whip. Especially once she grows up and gets access to the Zeus Gauntlet, she's not going to compete as effectively with Edge and Yang, but she can put out some decent damage, especially against dragons.
Yeah, she can definitely chip in. Good whip, good bow and arrows. Definitely becomes a good second-tier fighter for your party.
Yeah, normally we like to talk about Warrior Princess Rosa, but I guess Vengeful Summoner Rydia might have to fill in the gap today.
Yep, absolutely. And all our runners have found that Palom and that Bahamut up on top of Hobbs, so pretty much everyone's going to be done with one of the objectives that we have available to us pretty shortly.
It looks like Flurry is going to give us our first peek at the Antlion fight.
We have an angry Karate Man.
I would be very happy if this ended up giving us like the Sand Ruby that turned into an actual Yang. It would just be a neat little flavor piece of, oh, we knocked Yang out of the Baron brainwashing, and now he's going to join us in our fight.
That would be excellent.
Out goes the Chocobo, something we don't see a whole lot of, but chips in a little bit of extra damage from that low-level Rydia, who doesn't really have the MP to do anything useful yet.
Yep, that 100 damage is pretty solid, and then just going to use some rod usages after that. But this Yang is now going to disappear and crumble. and we get a hook. So that's another character check, and that's the more difficult of the two paths underground. So runners will probably be continuing to check not just for bosses, but also in hopes of a magma key. But we also might see someone kind of dip into that Evelyn section a little bit earlier than normal and see if maybe they can get an edge earlier than the one that is sitting outside in the Baronet.
And we do not have the no dupes flag turned on, so we could always just try and get 2 or 3 edges and just ninja percent this with Asura heals, maybe.
Yep, that would not be a terrible, sad thing at all for anyone.
Like, one of our concerns with Edge normally is, like, it requires a lot of weapons to get him going, but, like, we're going to have a lot of extra money from selling this heavy armor, so we might be able to just stock up on ninja swords from these shops. The best weapon we're going to find in a standard.
Yep, and with the fact that we already have the only key item we are guaranteed to need, we could be looking at a fairly quick seed. Just is going to really depend on where all those bosses are hiding.
That's right. If everything is in an ungated underground or earth spot, we could be in go mode, but we don't know yet.
Yep, and that will make less well-equipped edges a lot more palatable if you don't have to go to the moon and fight with short swords.
Yeah, Edge can do most of the early game as he comes, and he can equip a mix of monk and heavy armor, so he's got some flexibility. He can wear silver gauntlets, he can go up to samurai gauntlets, and of course Zeus.
Yep, and that, as you said, being able to use some of the monk weaponry too, those claws really give him a lot of flexibility. Being able to equip an ice claw or thunder or fire claw to kind of hit enemy weaknesses is really, really nice.
Yeah, I think he is one of the few characters who can easily deal 16 times damage to elements between like a mute dagger and an ice claw against the Rubicon phase.
Yep, well, all archers can too. They can always equip ice arrows and an elven bow, and that would also do it. But it's pretty much limited to those two classes of people. We did see some Maggot Sisters hiding out in Antline Cave, and Harumph is also showing us the waterfall where we get Dr. Luge, probably cleaning off his latest creation.
Sorry, where did you see those Mega Sisters?
I believe it was not Antline Cave, but Mist Cave.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
And there are some happy ninja swords Flurry finds in the
And Sorcerer,
shop.
nice.
Yeah, as well as Hourglasses and Siren. So if we find stuff to sell, which there is a good bit, the Dwarf Axe and Poison Axe that we just saw in Roger McBain's inventory are absolutely useless except for vendor trash. So those will sell fairly well. Not great, but we'll do reasonably.
Yeah. As standard, one of the things about it is it will guarantee at least 2 tier 5 items in the Eblin Cave shops because of them being restricted, and certainly paying off today.
Yeah, Palom number 2 and a Lunar Sparkle sitting there that would be at the Rubicon spot. So if that is a Wyvern, then we know that there is a Magma Key somewhere, but we're probably not going to go run down and check that quite yet. I bet Flurry picks up this Palom and decides to maybe go off to Fabul or to Mount Ordeals instead.
Yeah, Quake percentage is definitely a strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting a couple Paloms means that you'll be able to twin very easily, and that will do some pretty good damage early. One of the Paloms, of course, already has some level 2 spells, and you'll be getting a virus in not too long of a man or two.
Right, Palom gets his spells very quickly. He'll get Virus by level 19, Quake by level 23, and I think Warp is level 29 for him compared to like level 10 for Rydia.
Yeah, that's one of the notable ones that he gets much later. Flurry has run into the Staleman chest, so now that he knows where that is, the rest of this cave is free to loot for him.
Looks like Harumph is showing us the soldiers from Kaipo are invading Fabul today.
Yes, Baron is extending its domination. Hopefully we do find a Yang at some point just so he can join in on the fun.
Yeah, and we talked briefly about being able to use twin magic. One thing, I don't know if this is vanilla behavior or not, because it doesn't really happen in vanilla, but as long as you have 2 characters with the twin command, you can use twin magic. You don't have to have 1 black mage or 1 white mage. You can do it with 2 white mages, 2 black mages, or any permutation thereof.
Yeah, I don't remember when duplicates came in, whether or not that was something the board had to add specifically, or if it was just kind of a natural thing that happened when there were 2 people with the twin command available. And we
That's
did
one of
see
the-
a nice use of the cockatrice summon on her up screen too. Was able to take out the officer just in that one summon. So a heads up play.
All right, is Cockatrice a single target summon? I was looking at a different screen.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
We've been finding a ninja sword and ogre axe, so one good sword for Nedge that we know exists, and then some more axes for Selin.
Oh snap! That's a Bahamut.
Well, Rydia is fully online at that point now.
Yeah, we've got Sylph, we've got Bahamut. Like, the only thing we really care about finding at that point is Asura, in case we need to do some early heals. Like, some big early heals that Sylph can't handle. Saw a crystal ring in Flurry's inventory. That must have come from looting Eblin Cave there.
Very, very likely. I missed exactly what chest it would have been on, but he's got some good jewelry for all the children. Crystal ring, diamond ring, rune ring. Really hitting some good defensive and with that rune ring, extra offensive for gear.
Looks like our runners are starting to converge on Baron Castle, or Fabul Castle, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm not surprised everyone's still avoiding Baron a little bit too much for all these small children to go assault that evil wall that handed us the Baron key and said, "Come at me."
We've only had adult supervision, but there's a leg guarding that ninja.
Yep, they're just having some nice tea together. It's fine.
Yes, discussing how the invasion of Eblin went, and Edge might have some grievances.
Yes, perhaps it's a little bit of reconnaissance that Edge is doing there.
So while we climb Mount Ordeals, what are we thinking for the first boss here?
Well, we know it's a nice Pain Man. This is a very, very low attack spot, so this was more like Tickle Buddy than Pain Man.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think even a Rydia should be able to survive this without too much trouble.
Yeah, base level Rydia almost would have survived this. But now that he's waved his sword at us a few times, he's going to give us a little bit of speech and then disappear, and we'll get about 3,000 XP for all of Haram's characters. So that'll be a nice bonus.
Yes, as the Dark Knight lectures Rydia after destroying her home.
And one by one, Flurry, Roger McBain, and Boss Morvis all collect that Bahamut summon that Harumph had gathered earlier, and then Harumph is attacked by an angry turtle.
This could be bad, with the back attack giving it more time to set up that first wave.
Yeah, this is now a race between Rydia's summoning Bahamut and the wave actually coming out.
And if we're lucky, that Palom will get a lit one off to help as well. Or Eddie can throw Thor Rage. That works too.
Or Dragon Gods come out and just roast the turtle.
We got options, is what I'm hearing.
Yep. Hiding inside the shell. Eddie says, "I'm helping. Here's 1 point of damage."
Yeah, and Harumph queuing up a lit too. Unfortunately, his weakness at this time is ice, so it's not going to deal as much damage as it could.
Nope, and the turtle isn't quite slow enough for it to both remedy and then get back into form, but it is now crumbling and shaking. Rydia with 2 summons is really all the damage necessary here.
And Flurry showing us that it is full leg, it is Rubicon at that 400 hit point spot, and we'll probably go down to this one vampire.
Indeed. That is exactly what has happened. And that is a rude Baigen at that second spot.
At least this spot is kind of slow, so we can hopefully do some twin spells, do some Bahamut, and get through before he gets too angry.
Yep, and the flare taking out the arms is really nice too.
Yeah, interesting that Flurry does not have that self-summon. I guess has not been through Evelyn Castle yet.
Yeah, probably is going to skip it at this point too.
And Mount Ordeals gives us the power of music. We're probably not going to check that very quickly because that's a very high magic defense spot.
Yeah, but it is a required location to go to this Mount Ordeals because that's Nodin, and that's objective number 3 that Harumph will be crossing off fairly shortly.
And Edge joins the party, did not catch the key item.
Likewise, I also did not. See if chat or our tracker can help us out. Cat Claw.
Thank you, chat.
Our tracker Elias lets us know.
So good if we find a Yang. Otherwise, it's 7,500 gold once you consider the selling discounts.
Yeah, and here we have a couple of other strategies going on with Posmorpheus and McBain. Posmorpheus is doing a little bit of grinding here in Ordeals, looking to probably get those Palums up to or near Virus, so that maybe they'll get it here in this next fight. He's also doing a good job of keeping Rydia as the agility anchor because she's very, very slow, so those Palums will be able to go pretty fast. And then Roger McBain is doing some trap chests because they will have some good stuff in them, and will also give them some pretty good XP.
Yeah, curious if we're looking at an anchor situation on Posmorpheus' side, why we brought the Rydia back up, though.
That's a good question. Maybe he wants her to have a little bit of stuff now, because he does have that Leviathan summon. So it's entirely reasonable at this point to say, Rydia, have a couple of levels so you can do this once.
I guess, given what we've seen so far, progression is either Baron Castle or Hook Route. Unless we've got, like, D-Mist hiding at Tower of Zot.
Yep, that is or still could also be King Queen spot for D-Mist, too, for a Magma Key or some other form of progression.
Right, D-Mist at King Queen into Wyvern?
That would be glorious.
I think one of the trolliest things we could do to our runners is D-Mist at Maga Sisters into... I guess we don't really have a whole lot of options right now. D-Mist at Maga Sisters into Earth Crystal back into the tower.
Yeah, that's always a little bit like, game, why can't you cooperate a little bit with me? Why are you making me do this?
Thankfully, I've only had one race, I think, ever where there was a required D-Mist at Maga Sisters for progression.
But Harumph has summoned the power of Bahamut and has gotten his Edge and Cat Claw, defeating that Baigen. Meanwhile, Flurry is going in and taking on this wall. Edge throwing out some triple sixes in damage. We get some bluff and some twin action. Because while Evil Wall will counter direct spells cast at him, Twin Magic won't really count. Evil Wall, however, does not like twins and knock one of them out.
Yeah, Big Angry Dragon solves many problems.
Yeah, Bahamut does a lot of work.
He's 60 MP, but he's usually worth it.
Ooh, and McBain had picked up a power shirt somewhere, so Edge will be very happy to have that, along with the ninja sword that he has.
Oh yeah, that is the best strength shirt he's going to find in this game since we have Adamant Armor turned off. Yeah, there's that power shirt and the Baron, as well as another heroine robe.
Yeah, and I know Flurry had looted a rune axe from one of those chests that McBain had walked by, which is essentially, like I said earlier, just some really good cash at this point, because all of the axe wielders are Baron aficionados.
Yeah, I don't remember what the current buy price in Free Enterprise is for a rune axe, but it's going to be at least 10,000 gold when you sell it.
Yeah, and we have Leviathan sitting on the throne, so another objective.
Yeah, Baron is double required, possibly triple depending on what's at the Odin spot. Because this will give us our Defeat Leviathan objective and our Conquer Baron objective.
And we do have a total of 6. We do have the 5 summon bosses as well as the Liberate Baron Castle. So this will complete half of what we have listed on the tracker as objective number 2 for Flurry when he's done with this fight, as well as objective number 5.
Yeah, we have some great restream frames and everything put together by our community, especially Scala Kitty, but we don't normally have a whole lot of races with more than 5 objectives, so it's not something we've optimized for.
Yep, there's just not a whole lot of visual room either, so we made very good choices about what we can do with it and work within the confines of what we have set up.
And, looks like Flurry has defeated that Leviathan.
Yep, party pretty down on HP because we just don't have a great way to heal. Especially, it looks like Rydia probably took an early Ice 2, I would imagine, which is why she's unconscious.
Yeah, I saw her take an Ice 2 and fall right over. It was like 500 damage. And there's a Karate Man.
Yeah, and you're a little bit late for the Liberation, but I guess you could join the after party. Or not.
And yeah, Flurry not taking him, probably holding out for a Porum, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Porum or Tella, someone that can cast Cure 4 at some point, or at least Cure 3.
Yeah, although Tella's multi-target Cure 4 is more like a Cure 2 or a Cure 3 from everybody else.
Now, I would really love to see a Crystal Sword here, just so that all our runners could sell it to assert dominance over Baron.
Oh yeah, that would be a nice pile of money, too. Panthic's decent enough find. We can reduce the number of times we go down into the Sylph Cave.
That's why Yang was here. He had left his pan in the basement and was looking to get it back.
He must have lost Sheila's good pan, yeah.
Yeah, the family cast iron.
Looks like the peek at the boss of the Odin spot. Almost certainly not going to fight it unless it's something like King and Queen, but we'll at least get to see what we've got on our hands here.
Yep, a really good information check. And we do have key items available just at the main and summon location, so we could get a key item here. That's a blue robe. This is either our friend Water Hag, or it's our greater friend, the Alt Gauntlet.
Yeah, we're probably not taking that on right now, but it's a good source of experience once we're ready to go for it.
Yeah, and with that edge, and we know that there's a mute knife somewhere because we saw Roger McBain have it, and a ninja sword. Edge can pretty much one-shot those conjurers because they do count as mages. So if you get your agility set up correctly, so that Edge goes first and they don't get a chance to conjure right away, at least 3 of the fights here are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but it's looking almost certain like we are going to be going down the hook route in order to get underground. Flurry cleaning up his inventory, doing some shopping. Still holds on to that heroine robe. Maybe thinking, well, if a Dragon Whip shows up, I've got some options.
Yeah, and you never know if you might need a little bit extra defense in Rydia. Her HP pool is pretty paltry, so getting that high defense off the heroine robe might let her get off a Bahamut summon, even though it kind of tanks her magic defense or magic attack. Getting off Bahamut is better than not getting off Bahamut.
Yeah, like Bahamut at -10 or -15, whatever the heroine gives, is still a Bahamut.
Yeah, still going to be the most damaging single action that someone can take on this team. At least until Palom learns Quake, and then you start getting some, maybe Iridia does actually need to not tank her stats.
Right. So we see Cure 3s and Tent and Mystidia. We do not have C maybe on, so that does not tell us that we're going to be without a white mage. Porum is out there somewhere, we just have to find her.
Yeah, and I do believe Tele counts as a white mage for that too, so means we have at least one of the 2, I believe.
Yeah, that is something I've wondered about, but there's no Sura summon.
Yep. So white mage in a box there works 66% of the time to probably full heal your party, and the other time you're probably just a little bit sad.
Yeah, is it life 1 or life 2 she casts in that mode? I assume life 1.
It is life 1, so it will pick everyone back up, but does not do a whole lot if you're looking for some healing.
Yeah, but we've got Illusions, Kamikaze, Life, Starbale. Troya Pub is loaded.
Yep, and with all of the grinding Roger McBain had done, all the extra levels you picked up from those trap chests in Evelyn, it does not need to listen to a speech. Just give Cecil a cold hoot and he'll just run away.
Flurry about to get the unfortunate news that there is no demist in Mist Cave.
So one nice thing that the runners do have available to them is I think everyone's picked up that crystal ring from wherever it was.
Yeah, Evelyn Castle, I think.
Yeah, it will help them kind of do any agility shenanigans or making sure the party goes into a specific order for that King Queen spot. It's a spot that's pretty fast for the levels that people are at.
It's also fairly punchy.
Yeah, and other than Edge, we don't have a whole lot of agility differentiation between the other characters, so it'll be really nice to give someone a little bit of a boost so they can go a little bit faster.
Right, Flurry checks the waterfall, finds Dr. Cutscene.
But we'll see if he decides to make a little bit of Galaxy Brain play to go up to Zot, but it seems like he is just going to head finally into Ordeals.
That's right, Flurry has not defeated that Odin yet.
Yeah, so pretty much all of the runners will soon be caught up to each other, and I imagine mostly side by side, step by step, heading down into Evelyn Cave and going through Upper Bevel.
Yep, yeah. Like, you could argue from a strict objectives-only perspective that Harump is currently in the lead because he's got 4 versus the 3 that Flurry has, but that's going to be rendered moot very soon.
Yeah, I mean, Harump does have probably a couple-minute lead. I wonder if that pickup of the Stardust Rod much earlier than anyone else, if I think McBain has it, but Flurry, since hasn't been in, Edmund Castle probably hasn't picked it up, is giving him just a little bit of a faster edge, able to get a little bit more damage out, kill some bosses slightly faster than anybody else.
Yeah, Stardust Rod is a tier 7 item. It does good stuff.
Yeah, just being able to use it as an item for like 800 damage off the shot really helps you out. Would clear out like Antlion in one go. So you just get a lot of utility out of that. Flurry, however, is going to wait patiently for that speech. I guess he just wants to know all about justice.
It is not the only solution, it turns out.
I wonder if it's the only left in this world, though. It's not the only right, but maybe it's the only left?
Maybe it's the only up or the only down. Who knows?
Or maybe the strange or charm.
But I guess Harump is our first chance to see what is being guarded by these Stillmen. I think when we saw Flurry hit this chest, he reset out of it because we were very low level at the time.
Yeah, and it's kind of a slow fight, and as you see, they put Edge to sleep. They can put your characters to sleep, and that makes it much, much harder to get through this.
Yep, and Eddie taking a nap, taking that floor. Angry Dragon does Angry Dragon things.
Boss Morpheus gets the pan, completes his extra objective, and is going to go in and check the basement. But I did miss what was out of that trap chest.
That was a full moon, so we can back row Edge if we want to. Give him a little bit more defense, which, depending on what we're going to run into at that King-Queen spot, could be very relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, Moonveil out of the pot there on the way to finding the alt gauntlet here at the bottom of Baron.
Never say no to Moonveil. Not only does it give you the same reflect status as a Starveil, but it will also give you a status called Barrier, that is effectively a permanent blink effect, except without all the blinking. Makes you basically immune to physical attacks.
Yes, very handy. However, if you're doing if you're doing double reflect strats on Asura, don't use 2 Moonveils. Just use a Moonveil for you. She gets a Starveil.
Yes. Do not do Starveil and then Moonveil. Do Moonveil and then Starveil. You will have a bad time otherwise. But, I have won multiple tough boss fights by using a Moonveil cover Cecil.
Oh yeah, it's a great strategy. Makes life much easier sometimes. But Flurry is through that ordeals. Harumph is picking up a Palom possibly. He does still have that Eddy, so he would fill up his party if he does take this Palom.
Not surprised that he nopes the Palom there. We really do want to get a healer at some point. Like you said, we have Asura, but she's not super reliable.
And we get a Mylon in the King Queen spot. It looks like it is Mylon and Friends.
This is fine. The spell power here is very low, and although Mylon can make a physical attack once he's out of Friends, he still prefers to use Lit 1.
Yep, there's some good run buffering and just other manipulation to try and get to make sure that flame goes off before any of the friends can attack, and so they do not. Meanwhile, Flurry is going to be champion of the people, going to not only check the Chocobutt and get a power shoot out of it, but probably going to be getting on that Black Chocobo and going to give us some Twin Heart music.
Confirmed. We see how powerful Mylon can be at this spot as he tells Rydia to take a nap to the tune of 1200 damage.
Yeah, Palom not going to get that Quake off, hopefully going to get a Virus and maybe another Fight or Dart. Yeah, back rowing will help a little bit, but we get a Oh My Body. Roger McBain is through that Mylon.
Right, and it doesn't matter that we threw down 2 children because this spot gives no experience except if you get like the Football Gauntlet here.
Yeah, and we do see a Charm Rod picked up by Harumph out of a chest there on the way down. So that's a nice pickup too, as well as Sorcerer Rope. So that's a lot of defense, a lot of extra black magic for this team. It's pretty heavy on black mages.
Yeah, and we're YOLOing straight into the second boss. It is the Nope Rope. This is not good.
No, we're looking for a lot of 66% of the time, hitting more than 66% of the time.
May the odds be ever in your favor? I think that's the right thing to say right now.
Absolutely.
But we're about to get some dueling harps, so get your guesses out, chat. What is the bard going to serenade us with tonight?
And in honor of GDQ, it looks like we get some orbs. And Pasu has summoned a dragon god and has now started to get punished for it. Does not take out the main body initially, and Rydia goes down for her hubris. But he is through.
We get there. A bit of a close call. If we did not have the Bahamut summon, I would have been surprised to see our racers take this spot on right now, since the magic defense is so high. But this is one of the things that Bahamut just does, because its spell power is so high.
Yep, and we get a nice shiny space rock. So nothing that we needed to do here.
Except entertain the crowd, and that's the most important thing, right?
Absolutely.
Looks like Harumph is leaving Upper Babel. Perhaps going to go get some more experience before we take on that Nope Rope. But Apophosomorphia is getting a random encounter. Looks like he's got some grinds turned on.
Yeah, it has turned him on. Might be looking to steal some Bacchus wine.
Can you do that from the regular ogres here?
You sure can.
Today I learned. Are they available on all floors here, or just the last floor?
That I do not remember. But I do know that it's available, but he is also attacking the ogres, so I'm not sure what's going on exactly. We will find out. Meanwhile, McBain had run into that Ogopogo fight, as we saw earlier, and not saved, head wiped, to go back and refight that Mylon and friends. Did so successfully, went back and saved after that, and is now fighting the Nope Rope again. While Harumph has decided that maybe a little music is a little bit more in style than going through that Ogopogo.
Yeah, worst case, music gives you some experience points, which will make it a little bit easier to deal with that Ogopogo. And it looks like the larceny has begun on Possumorpheus' side. Just saw Bacchus show up. Maybe the goal was to get rid of most of the enemies so that we could have some uninterrupted time to steal.
Yep,
before Quake gets queued up anyway.
Yeah, we'll get a stop spell now, so we probably don't take any more attacks after the next one that gets queued. Edge, however, not being able to get through that stopped ogre, gets caught, takes 3 HP.
So with the ping damage you get here from a failed steal, if you're at 1 hit point, can you get KO'd by it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I saw somebody doing a bunch of thievery at 1 hit point in a race months ago, and they must have just gotten incredibly lucky then, because they did not fall over.
Yeah, there were definitely some races during the Zone where racers were not quite paying attention to that. Maybe they had gone through all the damage tiles in Sylph Cave and Limestone Monsters, and had absolutely had to reset, or were forced to start back over a little bit from taking that point of damage.
Oh boy, the Arima Zone was a thing. So many races, so many crazy moments.
Yep, it was a good time, and of course, all of those races that were restreamed are available on a playlist that's available on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, something like, it was over 250 restreams, wasn't it? The restream team really grew to meet the occasion.
We'll see if Flurry takes advantage of hourglassing these mad ogres and is able to decides to do a little bit of theft with Edge here that Possumorpheus had done with the ogres there in Cave Magnus.
Yeah, we could get some Bacchus, as you said. It's also some good experience combined with the life glitch. Looks like we're going to go for some experience. Putting on that Mutant Knife to deal quad damage. Yeah, there's a nice even 4,000.
Yeah, Edge is absolutely going to one-shot each one of these, so it'll be a very nice quick infusion of XP for all his characters. Like I said, we'll be a little bit curious to see if he decides to, once he's down to that last one, take a couple of swipes at the inventory there. Maybe pick up a Bacchus one or two. Because a Zerked Edge will definitely help a lot against that Ogopogo.
Yeah, Edge is so fast. If he can take turns without you having to tell him to do stuff, that is going to be pretty solid. But we're just going to KO that last Mad Ogre. We're not going to go for the Bacchus Wine right now. But we get a Quake Kit online. We get 2 Quake Kits online. And a Quake for your inventory as a consolation prize.
I think it is now let them eat Quake.
What kind of Quake do you like? I am kind of fond of Banana Quake, personally.
That is one that I
Kinder
enjoy
Quake,
too.
that's what I meant, sorry.
But even just plain old chocolate Quake is very nice.
Mm-hmm. Is chocolate Quake vanilla, effectively?
You're wrinkling my brain.
I mean, gotta do something, right?
Ooh, leggy with the layer Quake going on. That's very nice.
What are we gonna use for frosting on our Quake, though?
I mean, I'm always kind of a buttercream gets a little oppressive sometimes, so definitely a nice whipped cream frosting. I'm fond with.
Yeah, chat suggesting ice cream Quake. Yeah, we could totally have some Ice 3 Quake.
Yeah, I want to avoid the Ice 9 Quake. Not quite as fun.
Well, this is an 8-bit theater. We're okay.
But hopefully these runners will soon get on some firm footing against that Ogopogo. Quake, though, is not going to help him because he will counter any magic thrown at him with something. If it's a lightning-based magic, we'll counter with weak. If it's anything else, in terms of non-summon magic, we'll counter with a blaze that is ice-based. So not so much fun for this heavy mage team.
Yeah, and that blaze is like 20 to 25% hit points, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 20%, but I could be off because each big wave is 25%, and I think the blaze is only 20.
Yeah, and I think he also counters summons with blaze as well. But at the same time, if we still to heal more than that blaze is going to deal, we're still going to come out ahead.
Yep, that is true. I know that the blaze from Ogopogo is ice-based, Commander. Yes, and Jeeves is correct. Does not counter Twin, so we can bluff up some Palums and Twin all day long, and Ogopogo is a little bit confused by that.
Right. Twin is not something Ogopogo was ever expected to face from the developers. You don't normally have access to Palom and Porum at that point in the story.
I actually don't think any boss specifically counters Twin, even the ones that you do have Palom and Porum for. Lygan gets an effective counter once you've cast some magic at his main body, because the flare spell does not go through the wall. But in general, bosses don't counter Twin.
Right. I guess if you get lucky and get a stream of comets, you can bypass the reflect on Baigen, but that's like 25% chance each time, I think.
I've never memorized the chance. I just don't bother risking it.
That's fair. Yeah, the odds are not in your favor for that one. We're going to be relying on items for healing. What if we star-bailed some viruses around?
Could absolutely do that. You'd have to, probably then dedicate one Twin to just casting. Good night, Rydia. You're going to get eaten by this blaze. And then another Twin and probably Rydia just tossing life pot or cure pots all the way around while Edge attacks. But
yeah,
this is going to be a fight for the long haul.
Yeah, and for those not in the know, if you bounce a spell onto a creature, that creature will not execute any counterattack scripts. I believe the Reflect is considered a counterattack itself.
And I kind of like this play from her of going to the Gauntlet, not wanting to deal with that Ogopogo. If he does have that Mute Knife on Edge, this can be pretty straightforward. We'll have a little bit of trouble with the Clappers at the very end, but we do have some Hourglasses available to us. So this is effectively free. Just a little expensive in terms of money, but free in terms of difficulty.
Right. Where do we find those hourglasses? Were they in the starter kit?
No, they were for sale in Evelyn.
Oh, right! Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Evelyn shop was loaded. We talked about this.
We're definitely curious to see if maybe Flurry or Boss Morpheus, once he sees his Ogopogo, kind of switch around from having Iridia as their anchor, and maybe move a Crystal Ring onto her and off of one of the Palums to get her going a little bit more, because she's actually going to be a little bit more valuable than she normally would be in this fight.
Right, she's our only source of AoE healing.
Yeah, so keeping her up and active and moving as fast as possible with either Sur Summons or that Sylph would be pretty darn useful.
I would even consider putting Edge in the back row. We have a full moon, we can back row him, and that will keep him up so he can keep dealing damage.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of adjustments our runners do need to do in order to get through this. Meanwhile, we find the first clapper there on our Umpha side. And I think the second fight is either a Conjurer clapper or a double clapper. But it's been a while since I fought the All Gauntlet here.
Right, this is Fey March encounters, correct?
Yes, it is. This, along with Asura and Leviathan spots, I'll take from the Fey March, because they're all about that point of the game. It'd be really unfair to have this be pulled from the Baron Sewers location like the other two spots here in Baron, just because this is a more powerful boss spot, so we kind of get that similar level of the Leviathan other Asura spots from the Fey March, as well as Odin. They all kind of come from the same pool.
Right, I think in vanilla you actually have to defeat Leviathan before the King of Baron will talk to you. I know he at least sends you to the Fey March. I don't remember if he requires you to beat them.
Yeah, that is something I do not remember. It has been I'm out of
A
Fingers
while?
years. Yeah, it's been more years than Fingers I have since that happened, and we get a package.
It would be out of logic at this point, but do we check it and hope for Demis carrying Magma Key?
I think you check it if you're going to invest the time. You check it anyway for one of the bosses that we need anyway. So if it's a Demist holding a Magma Key or anything, we're really happy just to see Demist, because Demist is required.
Oh yeah, and we also need to find Asura still, so there's two bosses that we might want to find there if we really want to go for it.
Yeah, so chances are low that it's value, but I think you are probably interested in at least checking out the time. But Harumph does not see the game quite the same way I do, which we'll see if it works out for him or not. And he is headed down into fighting that Ogopogo one more time.
But yeah, chat points out Harumph gained a bunch of levels from doing that gauntlet. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, it would. And Charlock Butler also mentions that getting a fifth character could be nice too. If we do have a Porum there, that would be a nice anchor. Or maybe get her some levels and be a nice white mage. But it takes her so long to get Cure 3 that she probably wouldn't be useful as a white mage in this fight, and would be much better as an anchor.
Yeah, I guess if you had your choice between Porum and Tella, which one would you take right now, given the parties we've seen?
I would want Tella just to get through this Ogopogo almost, and then I could deal with anything else the rest of the way. I could probably lean on Asura for most other things. Just Ogopogo is a little bit too much for this party, I think, to really want to lean on it.
Right, and who would you put in the front row with Edge? Because you can't have four mages in the back rank, unfortunately.
One Palom probably goes there. I don't need both. Because Rydia is actually slightly better than Palom for a little while longer. So especially with that Bahamut summon, and I know we saw Ether 2 somewhere, so if we really wanted to keep her going and casting throughout a fight, we would not have too much of a trouble with it.
Yeah, I don't have Ether 2s in my notes, but I'm sure we saw them somewhere, you're right.
Yeah, they were in a shop. I don't remember which one. It might have been Silvera. But I think Flurry purchased one of them, and when he had about 25,000, 30,000 gold. Asura comes up gray-faced one more time for a flurry, and not what he was looking for with a fully alive party.
Oh, there's a Starbill coming up.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Morpheus is making very good use of those Bacchus wines he had earlier. I'm pretty sure Edge has consumed one and is going to town, and is putting out some pretty good damage. Rudia had thrown on an illusion, so if we're able to kind of get through this with that Bahamut summon, Morpheus might be our first runner through.
Yep, Flurry has deployed Reflect strats. See some viruses bouncing off onto that Ogopogo, not triggering the counterattack. Yep. But Morpheus is through. Our first underground runner at 5230, roughly.
Yep, gotta believe in that Rydia. And of course, those great Bacchus wine strats. It was a really heads-up play to go steal from those ogres. Part of the reason why the Bacchus wine is so useful is not only that does Berserk give you extra damage, but it means that every time Edge's turn comes up, he's instantly attacking once he's Berserked, which kind of helps him buffer turns in the queue. So as he's acting, other people don't get to take an action, because the ATB system of Final Fantasy IV kind of works in that pretty much one thing can only happen per tick. So if Edge is attacking as often as he can, it kind of will slow down Ogopogo, will give Rydia more time to cast without Ogopogo taking more turns, and it's really hugely beneficial for you to have someone berserking if there's no penalty for it based on like a D-Mist being hidden or the D-Lunars throwing up their script once they get a fight command attack to them.
Right. I assume that player character actions take precedence over NPC commands?
It's a little more complicated than that. There's a pointer system that says who should be able to go next if they're ready, kind of thing.
Okay, so sounds kind of like a priority queue.
Yeah, Jeeves in chat knows a lot more about it. Is probably more able to explain it than I am, but that kind of gives you a rough enough idea of why it's a good idea.
Right, and Morpheus did peek the top of the tower boss on the way down. It was Gulbez. We're probably not going there anytime soon.
That is going to probably be a last location for anyone. We don't have any ribbons that I've seen. We do have a heroin robe and a crystal ring, so we'll get to some actions during the hold phase, but that's an awfully slow fight, and who wants to do it? But we do get that pan bonk, which will give us a key item check, and then it can go run to Sheila and check two more things.
That's Amura.
Yeah, going to be real happy. We'll have Mura Ninja available for him. So a little bit shy of his best in slot for those, but second best for each is pretty darn good. At least per vanilla standards.
Right. Best. Yeah, I know there's a substantial portion of the community here for the randomizer that is of the opinion that Ninja Sword is better as a second weapon than Murasame because of the stat modifiers that each impose.
Yes, and it is dependent on level and what Edge's stats are, whether or not the penalty that the Murasame gives actually makes him have one fewer attack multiplier, and it's a little complicated, but they're equivalent enough that you're not really going to spend a lot of time like min-maxing that, I don't think. You kind of just equip the good stuff and go.
Yeah, I guess in like many things in this game, it comes down to, it depends, here's a pile of math if you want to get into detail on it.
Yep, absolutely. I know Swimi Leone in the Discord had done some analysis of a bunch of different weapons, and Edge's weapons were definitely part of that. Definitely Double Masa is always the best thing for him, but whether or not Ninja is better than Mura kind of depends on where you're at and what other stuff you have.
Right. Meanwhile, Sheila is guarding all moon access today. She had both the Darkness Crystal and the Pass. You were not going to get to the moon unless you had the approval of Yang's wife today.
Well, now that you've returned her storied family heirloom of the Pan, she is very happy to provide access to you to all sorts of things. We might be seeing just a lot of boss face checks up on the moon.
Right. The only key item we might find up there is from the Bahamut spot, but like you said, there's 5 other spots we can just face check.
And at this point, we are just looking for D-Mist, and we're just looking for Asura to finish off the seed.
Right, this is win game. We don't care about beating up Zeromus today. In fact, if you go to Zeromus' room, he will not fight you. He'll like stay high or something, and there's a nice little Easter egg if you go into the back of his room, but I'm not going to spoil that.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Definitely something you can easily get to in like a push speed, a jump seed where it's wind game, or pretty much anything where you can get to the moon and just walk down to the lunar core and say hi to him without having to actually fight him. But Possumorpheus is summoning that big whale. Seems to be gambling on. I don't know if he checked Dwarf Castle because we do have 2 available boss slots there, but seems to be gambling on that there are some bosses there on the moon that he wants.
I think the only thing Possumorpheus did underground was use the pan.
So we do even have. He could be looking for a character too up at the Lunar Dais. The shop could be interesting to him as well. But we do have a number of key items that still gate bosses. The Earth Crystal, the Tower Key, and the Luca Key, just sealed cave, all can gate a boss, and we don't know where any of those things are. And Harumph is the only one with knowledge that we have a package available, and that does gate a boss location as well.
Yeah, I don't think Possumorpheus took any saves before coming up here, so if there's nothing here, we're going to have to fly all the way back down.
And even slightly worse, I would expect him to possibly save outside, because he doesn't have access to exit yet, and that edge on the Lunar Dais continues to have access to exit. So if he does walk down, he'd have to walk back up unless he saves outside.
Or abuses warp.
Yeah, but goodness, that's also slow.
Yeah, it's faster than walking, but it's still going to take a minute.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, we have 3 Nope ropes still on everyone else's screen. That is a lot of big waves and attacks and other things happening. Asura is being cast from everybody. Virus is going out. Gonna be a real good time.
Yep. Curious where all the blinks are coming from. I guess everybody has illusions at this point.
Yeah. Illusions were for sale somewhere. I don't remember where.
Yeah. Try a pub. That is something we did find on camera.
Man, and Baron has even beaten the runners to the moon. The first 2 chests that Possumorpheus is able to check in cave value have already been ripped open and taken. That is 3 out of 4, and we get an Excalibur left behind. Why didn't they take that?
Because Cecil can't use it. He's a Dark Knight. There's an Asura.
Yeah, that's an Asura location, all right. We do have a Mute Knife, so that's good. If Possumorpheus did find that Moon Veil that was in, and I think he did. I think that was in the Baron basement. He is all set up to take that.
Yeah, just make sure a Star Veil on Asura stays up so she can't start healing herself, and then Moonveil Edge will do stuff. And he took that second edge.
Yep, he certainly did.
Looks like he is thinking about whether or not he wants to take on that Asura, and is going to try it, I think.
Yeah, if he has a Moonveil and is able to Moonveil with the edge and then Starveil with that same edge, and then he still has any Bacchus wine, this is effectively free for that edge. No one else gets any experience, but you don't really care.
Yeah, this spot hurts to get punched at.
Yeah, and he does not throw a Moonveil to start with, so either does not still have it, or I'm misremembering who did have it, because that was a Starveil to start.
Yeah, chat saying that they think Possumorpheus reset out of it. But, this is a real risky fight because all of these characters are gonna get one shot by Asura's counterattack.
Yeah, it's slightly risky if you can get some Paladins bluffed. Like, that is a thing you could have decided to do. Would have been to bluff up a little bit too, because you have all the time in the world to get yourself set up.
That's right, Asura does not attack you. She only counterattacks and heals herself.
You could bluff up both your Palums, get them ready to start bouncing virus spells off of that edge, which, as you said earlier, wouldn't be triggering any counterattacks from the Asura. And there isn't that much HP to deal with here, but we do have Harumph through, as well as Roger and McBain. McBain second, Harumph third through that Ogopogo on the restream. GG's to both of them for getting through that Ogopogo fight. That is an awfully mean fight.
Yeah, there's some really mean things that can happen in the hook route. I still have vivid memories of a certain fight against Kainatsu. The Flurry has a shaking nope rope and is through now, so all of our runners have underground access. Possumorpheus definitely has a time advantage right now, getting through meaningfully sooner than everybody else.
Yeah, it's really going to depend on where that demist is hiding for Fossil Morpheus. If it's somewhere back on the blue planet, or behind a key item that maybe that package that Harumph has picked up. But there's just so much left to do, left to find, that we don't really have a great idea of who's ahead or not. But Pasu definitely has a lot of knowledge here with this extra Asura check.
Yeah, and how nice of Asura to, after we bring that edge back up, throw a Cure 3 on him, even though it doesn't really matter since he took a 2300 hit.
Helping.
Oh, and Luca is being a prime NPC boss over on McBain's side.
Yep, and she's been playing with a little Dark Elf figurine. I guess she enjoys the me change.
I mean, who wouldn't want to play with Transformers?
True, and you get a dragon for the second form. It's great.
Is Dark Elf Megatron? Beast Wars Megatron, not G1, but still.
And I will accept Leggy's Starscream. I can see it as a definitive whatever Leggy wants to say about that.
Oh, we've got Bacchus in Dwarf somewhere. In Dwarf, nice.
We do have a KO to Sura on Posomorpheus' screen.
So that is 5 out of 6 objectives complete for Posomorpheus. And that could be a required rat tail, who knows?
Yep, but definitely a required location at least, so Posomorpheus definitely feeling good about this check of the moon. Does use that warp spell you were talking about earlier to at least save a little bit of walking time.
Our backup child Rydia we're seeing here is accidentally double tapped on some white magic there instead of some black magic because Kid Rydia does get a few white magic spells. Not super useful, but she gets them.
Yep, and fun small little note that she does indeed learn Cure 2 as an adult. However, since she has white magic taken away from her, you never get to see it.
I did not know that. That's kind of cool. We've got third Palom over on McBain's side.
The third Palom, if he stays alive, gonna get some XP from this. Stay alive is gonna be a little bit harder for him.
And it looks like Harumph is going to be our first runner to go down and check the land of summon monsters. Possibly going to find some summons in their hometown, who knows?
Yeah, I admit I'm a little bit surprised that Pasu did not do this when he was first here. This feels like a relatively straightforward check. It's 2 quick boss face checks as well as a key item that could be hiding a different boss.
On the other hand, chase your freebies.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do like the knowledge gain from this is, to me, feels pretty good.
Our key. We could see some Peconated specials on the menu.
Yeah, just when we know that Golbez is up there and very unattractive to take out, we know he does not gate us to the moon. So highly incentivized to just do the half tower.
Yeah, Dwarf Castle has a pink tail as the reward. Could go get a very powerful item. It won't be an adamant armor, but it will be something tier 7.
Well, it will most likely be something edge darts, I would imagine. Because like Dragoon Spear, Crystal Sword, Excal, and Avenger could all be in there.
Crystal Sword cannot be thrown, actually. I learned that the hard vanilla run. We've got a Water Hag at Leviathan.
Well, that's somewhat easy to defeat if you can not die to the vicious punches.
Yes, this is one of the few spots in the game where Water Hag is a legitimate threat.
But if we do have all those illusions still, effectively Water Hag is free.
Could also just lower the battle speed, hold A, and hope.
And McBain is deciding to use that special quake on some eggs, getting that Palom that he just picked up a whole bunch of levels. Since we do have these catch-up XP turned on, he will get quake off of this one egg, which is pretty nice. Normally, you don't get it off of one egg if you're not getting extra XP.
Would you say we're quacking some eggs?
I would. I'm 95% behind that statement.
So you're behind it except when I roll a 1.
Yep.
Alright. I can accept those odds.
I think those odds are just ducky.
Yeah. Not foul at all. Eventually the pun police are going to come arrest me. I don't know what I'll do in that case.
Nah, I mean, Bach is still free.
There. Feymark Sharp has and Starveils. Nice find.
Yeah, absolutely. And Harumph seems to be following Morpheus up to the moon.
Alright, Scala Kitty says I'm in the clear. And Leggy has an excellent defense here. So, I think I'm all set. I don't think I have to worry about any punishment, as Scala points out.
No, but those Star Camps, I think at the Crystal Rolls are absolutely punishing Bots and Morpheus' team. If this Toad doesn't land, it's a reset, but we do get a Toad out. They're just going to croak now.
Yep, we're going to revive our team, we're going to do some stabbing, and I don't know, I guess it's French cuisine that likes toad legs?
I mean, I'm sure, like many foods, it's delicious if you are used to all of it. But it's going to be a good bit of XP, too, here, especially if you get any life glitches off.
Oh, for sure, this is a prime spot to do some life glitching. Shame we don't have a White Mage to cast some Berserks, but we'll still get it. Just will require a little bit more manual intervention.
Yeah, I didn't see how many buckets wines that Possum Morpheus has stolen from those ogres, so don't know if he has any left available that he's interested in using. He did not go and pick up any at Dwarf Castle, as we said, since he just beelined straight to Yang underground in the Sylph Cave and then up to Sheila.
Yeah, but it looks like we're just going to try and burn these down as quickly as possible. We're going to get some experience points. We won't get the maximum possible experience points, but you know, we're going to get some XP. We're getting a powerful item, even though it's guaranteed to not be a key item. Alright, there's a life potion. That's better than no life potion. Classy Badger in chat says, this flag set was well beyond my skill level. Yeah, these are some challenging flags. I think I said earlier in the stream that I was not expecting something this complicated to be in the community races, but I guess every now and then we want to really push people and see how advanced they can be.
Yep, and not only was it the flag set fairly advanced too, Ogopogo at that particular spot is just rude. And if you when we didn't get a White Mage at all, it's a lot. It's pretty hard to get through that.
Oh, for sure. Silent Staff is nice. Too bad we don't have a White Mage to use it.
Yep, and Harumph is picking up some extra experience off of these gold dragons. I did not actually pay attention to see if Harumph was, whether he's down in the Lunar Subterrane or is at Cape Bahamut.
Oh, he is in Lunar Subterrane on the about to go down to the Ribbon Room area.
Flurry has picked up his all-access pass to the moon. So looks like just McBain has yet to go visit Sheila. Yeah, and as Scaligity points out in chat, we do rotate the flags every week. The same flags are for both the Monday and Friday race for our community races. But we do rotate them in and out every week, and we do try to showcase a number of different things. We take suggestions from the community as well. If you hop in the Discord, we'll be able to get you a link to our suggestion box for those. But we take those suggestions. We try to offer a different range of skill level and interest, and different themed flag sets as well. So we get a good variety here. And of course, for other varieties, we do have the Enterprise Legacy flag set, which is an evolving flag set run by Zoe Vermillion. That happens every Saturday night. We find a quick ant line there that both Harumph and Possum Morpheus pretty much reset out of in tandem.
Cannot blame them whatsoever. But yeah, Free Enterprise Legacy, it's inspired by like Pandemic Legacy, Risk Legacy, etc., where we've got an evolving, changing flag set every week, and there's some neat stuff. And hello, Wyvern.
Goodbye, Wyvern. Yeah, and then there's the Sunday Slapdash run by Poydrak, which happens every Sunday, and has a random flag set. He uses a random command built into our race bot, and does a little bit of tweaks to make it a little bit more erasable than even the erasable flag for that does. And it's a lot of fun to kind of figure out what is going to be good and powerful and how to work your way through a seed, just based on what happens there.
Tower Key is the infamous Bikini Tornado, but Edge is having none of that.
Yep, and both Pasu and Harumph reset out of that Ogopogo spot check so fast I did not see who it was.
It was Did Posmorpheus check the Peldim spot?
I do not recall. And yeah, Classy Badger, the no free characters flag stops you from being able to pick up any character at any location where you don't have to fight something for it. Or to have gotten it. Yeah. So you get the one free character, so you have your two starting characters, but anything else you have to have picked up a key item or fought something in order to pick up a character. That's why the Baron Inn is not considered a free character, because you have to go through two bosses.
Right. It is considered an ungated character, though, so under C standard you will not find Edge or Fusoya there. Rat Tail is a crystal. It's not so required after all.
No, it's a key item that puts him to, looks like 8 by a quick count. But not the one he's looking for. And I missed what Flurry got, but we'll see a replay of it on McBain's screen shortly.
Might be a legend sword, because it looks like we're going to go forge something.
Sure does.
Have a sword. I'll buy it back from you and give you some money for it.
Maybe he'll dart it too. Who knows?
Yeah, Excalibur is the second most powerful dart in the game behind the spoon. Possum Morpheus is retracing the steps of our other runners going to Dwarf. We know we're not going to get a whole lot of value here, though.
Oh, but Moonveils for sale in that shop are very nice. Artemis arrows are also pretty handy.
Moonveils in Kokol, you say?
Indeed.
And crystal rings and life staff. This is a nice shop.
Yeah, you're definitely not too sad that you had to go up and down the tower for one key item for it.
But yeah, on the free characters front, we do no longer get a free character in the Watery Pass. We no longer get a free character in Damsian. We no longer get a free character on Mount Ordeals. We no longer get the 2 free characters in Mysidia. I think that's all of them.
That sounds right. And that's something that a lot of runners who pretty much haven't played much since the Highway to the Thermos Zone, when we did have that flag turned on, could be thrown for a little bit of a loop when they're not used to getting those free characters, to kind of make it a little bit easier to get through hook routes that are a little bit meaner like this.
And it threw me for a loop when we had it on in the first place, because it was so uncommon before that.
Yeah, Harumph making good use of that Cockatree summon still, using it there on that final Dark Imp that he had hourglassed earlier. So good job keeping that in mind. I think most of our runners have probably forgotten about it by this point.
That's right. The second phase of the Dark Imp fight is not considered a boss, It loses the boss bit when set, so you can stop it, you can weak it, you can stone it, you can do a variety of shenanigans. I think it is still immune to coffins, though.
Yeah, instant death attacks don't work on it. So I admit I'm really pulling hard for a package here. Having the final boss that we need, having that demist behind the package that Harumph has a huge advantage of.
I just hope it's not the Giant again, because Monday night I 34-34'd because the Giant was the last place I looked and it had 2 required bosses.
Yeah, that's another good place for a boss to be hiding that none of our runners have on screen have gone to look at. That we did get access to as soon as we got that Darkness Crystal from Sheila.
Alright, if Flurry does top down, we'll know what's in that pale dim spot, because I did not see it. Harumph is walking up, though. Maybe he'll go check it for us.
Yeah, that seems pretty likely that you would go ahead and check it on the way out. Unless you want to quick save so you can reset out of it, which would also be very reasonable.
Oh yeah, totally. Do the save scum. Save slots are a resource. Use them wisely.
Yep, you get 4 of them. So if you only use the one, you're leaving a little bit behind.
They can allow for some very fast transportation to and from areas that are far apart from one another. Just don't save over your save scum slot by accident. That can be frustrating. Definitely not a recent experience of mine.
I'm pretty sure everyone has done it who's played this game often enough to think about saving in multiple locations as a resource. Yeah, Roger McBain picking up a couple of Cure 3s there at that Mysidia shop. Just kind of simulate a white mage since we don't have a whole lot of actual reliable curative power on this team.
Right, like we talked about earlier, Asura is 33% likely to be a good heal. Sorry, 66% likely. Hi, Octomom. Bye, Octomom.
Yeah, I think we did see that on Possu's side. I remember seeing Octomam.
So, the game will end somewhere on Earth. Demist is hiding something.
Oh, as you said, we do have that giant. I guess that's still technically on Earth.
Yep. We also still have Zalt 1. Nobody's checked that yet. Wouldn't that be the ultimate troll?
It is definitely a great spot for a boss to hide on a boss hunt. It definitely happened in at least one race in the Fabul Gauntlet that had boss hunts turned on as part of the 5 random objectives of that tournament, where a required boss is just kind of chilling in Zot 1. And the runners of that race absolutely went all over creation looking for him. And Odin was just sitting there, just laughing at you.
How's it going, guys?
But Posse Morbius should have this water hag down fairly shortly. It has 2 hits in already and has 4 living characters, so the math seems to work out in his favor. Harumph is getting started on his Asura fight, throwing some illusions on edge so that he'll be able to take a couple of shots without actually taking any damage.
And Waterhead gives us a spoon. Seems appropriate.
Where is our Edward? Oh wait, we left him right behind, except for Harumph.
Yep, Harumph will be happy to get that spoon.
Definitely wonder what is going through all the runners' minds as they have some key items that still gate bosses that they don't have yet. as well as a couple locations that are available to them. Like as we said, no one's checked the giant. Just kind of like what each of their approaches are going to be as they whittle down how they decide to whittle down the locations, and just kind of how nervous they are.
Yeah, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. Nobody has done. Boss hunts, in my experience, do tend to take a little bit longer than objective hunts. Quest hunts.
They're a little bit less directed, but you also have the interesting byplay of what we've seen here so far. It's a lot of face checks without going for key items, where sometimes that's always to me an interesting kind of dilemma of, do I want to look for key items that unlock more places to find bosses, or do I want to just hope that it is somewhere in the places that I can get for this last boss that I need?
Right, so playing the role of Asura tonight, we have Pale Dim. This is not awful. It's going to be somewhat fast, fairly punchy, but we can just pile non-elemental spells and throw ninja swords and hopefully burn it down pretty quickly.
Yep, and it's not as punchy as it would be in Leviathan. The Asura spot does have the attack power toned down a couple of notches on that dial from the Leviathan spot.
Right, Asura spot actually uses physical attacks, so the original developers made sure that it had a reasonable physical attack stat. But do not use elemental magic on Pale Dim, it will absorb it and counterattack.
Yeah, it will be a bad time. But Rotring Pain has clearly used a summon spell or the Siren item to summon these warlocks, and has used the mute bell, or probably just the mute bell, to make them not be able to actually cast, and is able to just kind of slowly whittle down their life.
Yeah, Mute Knife Edge could probably one-shot them.
Should be pretty close to it, but it looks like he does not have that mute knife, or at least doesn't have it equipped on Edge. So it's just kind of slowly get the damage down, and it'll give him some pretty darn good experience. It's a little bit less than the double gold dragons that we saw Harumph summon earlier, but it's not that much less, and is actually a little bit safer.
Right, if you don't have hourglasses, you probably shouldn't do gold dragons, but you can totally do these guys. Warlocks, that's what they're called.
Yep, the warlocks, the mute bells, unless you have no J items turned on, mute bells are available pretty much every seed.
Yeah, they're like tier 3, I think.
Yeah, they're low tier enough that they can be in overworld shops as well as underworld shops. So you have plenty of opportunity to go pick them up and just stash a couple. The mute bells are also very useful against the Baron guards if you don't have access to the mute spell and can't kill them very quickly, because it will make them not be able to counter with Piggy or Size. So very useful item to pick a couple of them up in any seed that you see them.
Yep, and Flurry has found Asura, has 2 Moonveils in his inventory, is going to have a good time.
Yeah, and I think he probably bought some. We found a Magma Key there behind that Pale Dim and Asura, so not a whole lot of value. Yeah. Well, that's gone.
Yeah, reset out of it, but we already had 10 key items, so it's not a big loss.
Yeah, so now do you fight Golbez? Do you go up and go to the Giant?
Let me double check where that package was. It was the Baron basement.
That's correct, yeah. So Pasu still doesn't know about that, but he does know that it's the Alt Gauntlet, and has seemed to want to fade it, because that's a pretty unattractive fight.
Right. We do know it's a key item location, though, and it's going to be less rude than Golbez. On the other hand, Golbez is much closer.
Yep. Yeah, so it'll be interesting, since he has whittled down a lot of the possibilities to not a whole lot left available to him, kind of what he decides to want to do.
Right, so the only key items we have not found at this point are Luca, Key, and Earth Crystal, right?
I don't know if we've seen the Sand Ruby.
I meant the boss hot gating key items.
Oh, yes. Yep, that is correct. Those are the 2 boss gating key items that we do not know where they exist. So definitely one of them is somewhere behind that Golbez.
Unless we get a crazy chain from a D-Mist at Zawatar package.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I don't think Wyvern gets any kill counts here, because everyone has reset out of Wyvern before Wyvern could even take a nice deep breath.
Yep, Wyvern at Masamune Altar can be very rude.
Yep, Wyvern's at the ribbon room though.
Oh, you're right. But my point stands.
Yes, indeed. It is not a fun fight, and everyone's going to reset out of it as soon as they possibly notice. But now Flurry has also completed objective number 2, getting that Asura down and having defeated the Leviathan long ago. So we now have 3 runners on the restream who are just looking for a single solitary Mist Dragon.
Yeah, and Flurry's still running with only 4 characters.
Yeah, sometimes picking up a 5th character is actually not that much and a bit of extra use for you. Just because if they're not well equipped and their turns come up often enough that you're not doing a whole lot with them, they don't have levels, that you're actually kind of spending a little bit extra time.
Right. Harump turns in his rat tail, gets his crystal. Probably does a little sigh. And we're getting a package check.
Yeah, I think this is a really good play by Harumph. Finally capitalizing on that knowledge, on having actually done that long, slow check of the All Gauntlet at the Odin spot.
We've got some very spicy dances going on today, apparently.
Yes, caliente, indeed. But Pasu is fighting that Golbez that we talked about earlier. Flurry is headed to the Giant, and Harumph is headed into a cutscene, then into another cutscene, and then finally into a little bit of knowledge.
One of these is going to be the right play, unless it's still Zot 1. At this point, I'm kind of hoping it's Zot 1, because that would be hilarious.
Yes, tension is building, suspense is mounting as we get a whole lot of waiting for information, as none of these fights and checks are particularly quick.
Now, hopefully Morpheus is able to get that Star Veil up before Golbez starts throwing out Tier 3 nukes.
Yeah, although the magic power here is pretty terrible, so Edge is going to be fine.
Yeah, the virus is under 300 damage, I think.
Yeah, Edge would have survived any single direct cast at him, I'm pretty sure here. So, not too big a worry. He's going to throw that Bacchus Vine and get angry and start punching, and Golbez will eventually utter his favorite letter.
That letter that's sometimes a vowel?
Perhaps. That's a strike for Harumph. That's a potential strike for Flurry. One of 2 bosses here is just going to be Mylon Z or Mylon Z, depending on how you prefer.
Looks like he's not going to take it right now. Really curious about that, since there could very easily be a Demus hiding at the CPU spot.
That is kind of a long fight. He doesn't have a whole lot of stuff, and maybe he's thinking that some other stuff is a little bit more attractive. He hasn't done the fights here in the Feymarch, so that's stuff he could do to get some key items.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Sometimes I forget while commentating that not all of the runners have the same view of the race that we do. Especially when we're doing a 4-player race instead of a 2-player restream.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to keep track of. But Pasu has defeated that Golbez. Will soon be getting a key item check. That's the Sand Ruby. Hello, Zot, or hello, second thing in CPU.
Yeah, those are our only real choices at this point, aren't they?
I believe so, unless we have all forgotten something. Chat, have we forgotten something? Max Frost, I don't think we can have a Luca Cave Demist because I think we have checked all available key item locations. We
Yeah, the only
don't
key item
have
location we
access.
have left is Demist. So Demist has either Earth or Luca, which leads into the other of the two.
Yep, which leads to some vaguely possibly nice gear. And we'll never know.
Yeah, we will not be raiding the treasury this seed.
All right, who is going to take the gamble on... I think Flurry will be the first person, if he's able to get through the King and Queen spots fairly quickly, would be the first person to take a gamble on Zot. Just because he's already been up into the Giant and would probably feel pretty bad about going a second time.
Yeah, that's a reasonable assumption. Did he take a save inside the Giant? I don't remember.
I don't recall either. But he's also done a little bit of grinding here too, so he might not. Polymorphes also has a pretty good shot of checking that Earth Crystal if he doesn't want to go for the potential 2-shot of 2 boss checks in the Giant. So might be pretty close between them. Pasu, of course, is going to be free to check whatever he'd like a little bit sooner since he's already done these checks here in the Fey March.
Yeah, Polymorphes does not have the package, so he's probably going to be pointed towards the Giant at this point. And that's a Swag Ramu out of Harump of all things.
Swag Ramu is the name of a band that I can't think of whatever my cover band would be for them. What band would be a good band for Swag Ramu to cover the songs?
AC/DC?
Okay.
I mean, lightning, electricity kind of fits.
I wonder if specific era Bob Dylan stuff, the just post-electrification of him, would also be good.
Yeah, question from chat about why Demas cannot be in the Luca key. That is because we have nowhere where we can acquire a key item except from Demas at this point. And so it has to be in a location we have access to, which means it's either the second boss of the Giant or it's the first boss of the Tower of Zot. Those are the only locations that we in the booth have not seen yet.
Yep, and with Pasu taking a nap here in the Baron Inn, looks like he's probably going to be going after that All Gauntlet there.
Alright, looks like Harump is going to dive the Giant, find that Mylon. Hopefully he'll show us what passed it.
I imagine all of these runners, if they do have the Discord open, are constantly checking the race room waiting for a dot done because they've just checked almost everything.
Yeah, we've had one forfeit, but otherwise nobody has ended this race one way or another. Why CPU and not elements? Because we have seen the elements boss. It is Mylon's End.
Yep, Flurry went and peeked it earlier, saw the purple robe, said, I don't really want to go through all your hit points in order to find out who's behind you. I'm just going to reset back out.
So we talked a little bit earlier tonight about some of the racing clubs we have in the community. We mentioned the Legacy Club. We mentioned the Sunday Slapdash. We've got some stuff going on in the middle of the week too, don't we?
Yep, Tuesday night we have the Underground Racing Club. Wednesday night we have the Mysidian Jumping Club. And Thursday night we have the Lunar Racing Club. The Tuesday night club is run by Flurry and Penguinator and features a fairly lengthy objective set. Some of them are just to get some of the easy objectives that are available right away without a key item out of the way, and then doing 3 of 4 of the rest of them. Does give you adamant armors, but kind of limits your character choice a little bit. And they're all fun flag sets, and they all focus on slightly different things. The Mystidian Jumping Club on Wednesday nights is one that I run, and is the one that features push P to jump. It's a fairly friendly flag set in terms of what weapons and items you can get, as well as what characters you can get. The part about it that's a little bit tricky is that in order to go as fast as possible, you kind of want to learn some of the jump skips. And we do have one little bit of explanatory video in a document for some of those, but it's a lot of fun. The flags aren't hard to complete. Adamant armor are turned on. You'll be able to get a pink tail. The loot is wildish, so you'll be able to get some really good gear. It's a lot of fun. It's a pretty fast time. And then the Lunar Racing Club is run by Invenerable, Moonblaze Wolf, and Dusty Griff. And it features what is kind of a Catalyte flag set. You only get cabins and shops. It is T Pro, so the loot that you get out of treasure chests is a little bit reduced, and it has junk turned on, so you kind of have to do a lot of menu management. But as a consequence of some of those choices, they also do have a loaded starter kit, so you get a lot of good attack J items earlier, as well as you get some sirens right away. So they kind of balance it, and most of the races for all of those last somewhere between like 1.5 and 2 hours.
Yeah, jumping
all a
is...
lot of fun.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that push B to jump is the April Fool's flag from 2020, and probably one of the best things that's happened in the year 2020 is it has allowed us to do some crazy shenanigans with just breaking this game in half, more so than we already did by having the randomizer.
Yeah, you really are able to both push B to jump in battle as well as outside of battle. So you can skip like one tile gaps in floors. You can skip outside of walls sometimes. Sometimes it can land you in a pretty bad spot, but most of the time it kind of does little warp stuff. It's a whole lot of fun. You should definitely, if you're interested, you just roll yourself a seed or come check out the Mystidian Jumping Club. We do restream 2 clubs per week, plus the Enterprise Legacy every Saturday. This coming week, I believe it will be the Underground Racing Club on Tuesday night, as well as Mystidian Jumping Club as the featured clubs that will be restreamed on the Free Enterprise channel.
Yeah, and as you said, you can jump in combat. That means everybody is Kane. Everybody can dispel Valvalis, I believe.
Yep, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. All the different jumping animations people have. Like Sid is using his peep animation on his way down. So a lot of fun. It is a blast overall. I really enjoy the flag set, which is no surprise since I'm the one who runs the club.
Yeah, I believe everybody uses their special attack animation or their spellcasting animation. So like you'll see Dark Knight come down pointing his sword as though he's about to use a Dark Wave.
Yep.
And is Harumph about to win the game? Let's find out.
Hey!
There it is. There's go mode, everyone.
That is a very punchy spot, but luckily Demist does attack 3 times and then hide, so you will be able to kind of get people back up and going, but it's gonna be doing a lot of damage in each particular shot for everybody.
Yeah, do we have any silk webs?
I think Harumph had thrown one. I'd also be very, very desirous of just the Moon Veil.
Oh yeah, Moonveil and you win as long as you don't trigger too many cold mists.
Yeah. At least one character will stay up all the time. But Roger and Wayne going to be hot on Harumph's heels, since Harumph is seemingly probably casting something with that Rydia. Yep, that's a Dragon God who will absolutely miss into the mist.
Yep, and we've got life potions, I hope. There's some life potions.
Yep, and to answer in chat, the darts do not actually carry the element of any particular weapon, but it's an entirely different damage calculation than a normal attack. So it kind of bypasses some stuff that you might think is true. So you're always able to like dart on Valvalis, and if you do dart on Excal, it just does the weapon power, I think, or it's based on Edge's level and weapon power, I believe.
Yeah, I think I heard
totally
somewhere that it's
the holy
attack power of the weapon times your level, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, that'd be a look up at the algorithms guide, but it is definitely attack power weapon. As Edge levels up, it definitely gets stronger, and I believe, like you said, it is based on his level and just the attack power of the weapon. It's the only things.
Yes, and we just had our first place finish. Poidrak in first place, 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 28 seconds. GG's to Poidrak.
Indeed. Yeah, both Roger Payne and Harumph showing just how hard it is to actually time to land that Leviathan summon, because D-Mist is very, very fast here. And that summon does have a little bit of delay, like most summons do, when casting it. So it's hard to get it off.
Yeah, is Sylph the fastest summon? I think that's one of the few ones that has no delay.
Yeah, Sylph definitely has no delay. I think at least one or two others also do, but Sylph has no delay, so it's a free and easy cast, just like Nuke. But like Leviathan and Bahamut have a little bit of a delay on them, so they're pretty hard to time on some of these very fast bosses if they have phase changes.
Right, and Possumorph is about to get the bad news that we have a moon boss here at the Tower of Zot. And I want to say that's Plague. I think we've seen everything else.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Yeah, D-Lunars were at the Masamune altar.
Yep, they had swapped spots or they had moved into Ogopogo's home when Ogopogo decided to take up Rubiconte's spot.
And Harumph is through.
Yep, Harumph will be able to officially put in the .done and hit enter when it finally gets that all objectives complete screen just in a short moment.
There it is. Official race bot time, 1 hour, 43 minutes, 13 seconds. GG's to Harumph.
Indeed, GG's on second place. That's a heck of a seed. We'll see if we can get Harumph in for an interview to kind of talk about his thoughts as he's going through that.
Alright, and here is tonight's second place finisher, Harumph. GG's. Congrats on finishing this somewhat trolly seed.
Thanks.
Yeah, so tell us about a little bit as you were thinking in the last like half hour or so of where possibly that D-Mist could be, what was kind of driving your decisions.
Given here that I didn't see any finishers at that point here, I figured here that the D-Mist would be kind of buried in someplace potentially troll here. So I was thinking package or CPU. I didn't think, based on where I'd seen the key items here and seen most of the bosses here, I didn't think it was going to be behind a more obvious spot here, so I figured I'd go for the, after checking the moon here and checking Bahamut's, but just checking, just looking for the fun spots and see how it works out from there.
Yeah, and you had that package for quite a while. What made you not decide to follow up on it pretty much right away after you'd gotten that?
I didn't think I was hoping it wouldn't be that truly here, because it's a few cutscenes, to go through here. But I figured here I would use the package here as a way here I could refill my HP without having to burn an item here, so I could just go through the first part of the cutscene, save with full HP, and then go from there. So I was kind of trying to manage my manage some items that way in terms of trying to save time in terms of when I can cure, when I need to heal up the party and whatnot.
Yeah, one of the nice Galaxy Brain strategies is knowing when to pop those free heals from various events.
Now, given that I didn't do too much, I don't think I did too much shopping, but just trying to manage my time here and try to route around that.
Yeah, and you also did a very good job remembering that Cockatoo summon and used it a bunch of times throughout the race. So that was really nice to see.
Yeah, I figured all right, it's not imp, so bonus there, and then finding a Sylph early as well here, and then into Bahamut here. So yeah, I had all the summons I needed here for the seed for the most part.
I guess I gotta ask, How do you feel about Ogopogo right now?
Well, yeah, the first two attempts, like first one's like, yeah, no. Then the second one's like, all right, still a little bit too speedy here, but I think I've got the tools here to just grind through it here. I had a moon veil, so at least I could mitigate some of the damage here. No, prevent one of my one of my characters from taking too much damage here. And as long as I can keep another character up here, I had gotten Ashura just as the source of healing here because I never found a white mage.
Nobody on Restream has found a Tela or a Porum.
Yeah, so once I had that source of of healing here, I could probably grind through that fight here and just get a bluffed up Quake here or a Bahamut here at an opportune time here, so I wouldn't have like a blaze into like a double big wave or anything silly like that here that could make that fight go south very quickly.
And I think you're the only one of the restrained runners who dove Eblan Castle very early. What kind of drove you to do that rather than the safer option of Watery Pass?
I'm not sure why I did one over the other here. Is like really, it's a coin flip. I think at that point here, I was lucky to find the Stardust Rod, and to make the early game a little bit more smoother going here, and a heroin rope here just so Rydia can absorb some damage early on here until she gets a few levels up.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to get a low level Rydia going if she just falls over when somebody sneezes at her.
Yeah, that's what happens with the kid here before she gets a chance to grow up.
Any thoughts about the flag set in general, or any other thoughts about this particular seed for your homes?
Like a seed like this here can either be super jetty here, be finished in like 30-40 minutes here, or it can be a long 2-hour plus grind here. I think this kind of felt somewhat in the middle, strangely enough. So I'm just happy here I'm done before the 2-hour mark, to be honest.
Oh yeah, boss hunts can be highly variable, as you said, and sometimes they can be very punishing if you're just looking for that one specific boss and they're just hiding really effectively.
Yeah, and with 3 of the 4 of you getting underground pretty much at the same time, slightly after the 1-hour mark, definitely does not feel great on trying to hit that under 2-hour overall time.
Fortunately, when you get underground here, you have a few more boss checks here, and based on I was kind of metagaming the race here, which allowed me to make an educated guess, which worked out for me this time. So.
Well, please, do you have any other questions here for Humph tonight?
I don't think so. I guess, what kind of race are you hoping for next week? Just broad strokes.
Well, I hear it's a very Eddie-focused seed. I don't, if I recall reading the community flag, the flags for next week's community race here. I'm not the biggest fan of Edward in the world. I think he's a great anchor, but that's about at times, but that's about it here. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Edward definitely takes some finesse to use effectively.
Yeah, it is definitely Edward focus seed. It is Bard Appreciation Week, and I believe it was flag set designed by one of our premier Bard fans, Oscar424.
I was going to say, this sounds like an Oscar flag set from just the description I've heard.
Yep, so if you do want to see more details about that flag set, do hop into the Discord. We do have a spreadsheet with the upcoming community races and flag sets and stuff. There's a place where you can see it. We might go over them a little bit towards the end of the broadcast, but we do have a couple other interviews to get to, I believe. So Harumph, once again, GG's on second place. Well run, and I hope you have a great evening.
You too, and thanks to the Restream team here for putting on here for tonight's show.
Yeah, thanks for letting us commentate on you.
And while we say goodbye to Rumpf, who took second place, we are welcoming in Roger McBain, who took third place in tonight's race. GG's, Roger McBain.
While we wait for Roger's audio to get set up, we've got, as mentioned, Roger in third place, Microcorgs in fourth place, and Possum Morpheus in fifth place.
You hear me now?
We can hear you now. So, GG's, how did you feel about that flag set? How did you feel about Ogopogo?
I didn't like that one.
Yeah, that was
But
definitely
it
a
was
heck of a
fun.
roadblock.
Yeah. I think I did okay, but I should have bailed earlier, I think.
I mean, pretty much everybody is going to struggle with Ogopogo in that spot. That is something where you're going to need an amount of luck to get through safely, in addition to your skills and equipment.
Yeah, wasn't enough healing. Even if I could have survived it, I would have run out of potions.
Yeah, and nobody on Restream found a Porum Oritella tonight.
Yeah, but you handled it well and got through. I think you were the second on the Restream Underground. But definitely was a good job there. How did you feel as you were kind of narrowing down options and slowly realizing where Demas probably had to be? What was going through your mind as that was going on?
Yeah, I was starting to be scared a little about maybe your crystal and the other things because I didn't track Leviathan. I didn't remember killing it, so especially when I saw Element, I didn't have Leviathan or Mist. I was like, oh no, where do I have to go kill Golbez or something like that? So when I got the complete, I was, oh, I killed him already.
Yeah, Golbez was nothing super exciting. Checking my notes real quick. It was the Sand Ruby.
Yeah. Glad I skipped that.
Yes, just leave Golbez to laugh alone in that tower.
Yep. I was very surprised that there was nothing on the move, other than Shura in the Mammoth Cave. Like, I just did all dungeon and there was nothing.
Yeah, rando gonna rando. There was very little on the moon on Monday as well, and I remember also having to last location. Both bosses and the giant were required.
Mm. Yeah. That one was rough too. So it should be a jet seed or usually for this flag, but it's not.
Yeah, having this many bosses to hunt means that someone's probably going to be in a pretty trolly spot. What do you think about the flag set overall?
I like it. It's different, so it's good fun. I really like that.
Yeah, for sure. Doing tournament flag sets nonstop does get a little bit draining after a while. So it's good that we have these opportunities to do a whole bunch of wacky different stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like a treasure hunt, but it's more bus hunt.
Exactly. I'll pick Sam. Do you have any other questions for Roger McBain tonight?
I don't think so. Congrats on finishing. Congrats on pushing through that awful Ogopogo spot. And hope to see you on Restream again sometime soon.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And GG's again on third place.
Thanks.
And that was Roger McBain, our third place finisher. Since we've been chatting, we've had Tybalt come in 6th place and Jbrun TR come in 7th place. And here is Possum Morpheus, said 5th place finisher. GG's. Congrats on finishing a rather trolly seed.
Well, thank you very much. I hope everyone enjoyed the full 100% tour of the seed, leaving no stone unturned.
I mean, that's how boss hunts go sometimes.
Second one in a row, so, consistency is a good thing.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean...
I know I definitely enjoyed you remembering that those ogres in Cave Magnus could be stolen from and get you some pocket swine.
Yeah, that was kind of a premeditated thing because on a hook route, when you see a sparkle, if it's either Pale Dim or if it's Ogopogo, and you have no white mage, and I hadn't found a power staff to bonk with Rydia, I'm basically sitting there wondering, what if it's one of those two? This is going to take forever and a day, so let me be smart about this, steal some Bacchus, and go from there. And it really helped out through the course of the seed. Let me do some things that I don't think I would have otherwise been able to do. So the small amount of time it took to do that definitely paid off.
Yeah, it definitely helped you get first underground on the restream. Your ability to Bacchus that edge and have him go and buffer turns definitely helped you get through that Ogobogo fight a little bit faster than everybody else.
Yeah, I was pretty pleased with that. I've encountered Ogo enough at plenty of rude spots to kind of figure out the way to beat him, and he's basically weak to Berserk. That's kind of how I like to treat Ogopogo, and it paid out really well tonight. I figured I would have been pretty quick underground compared to everyone, just because of how well everything I did lined up with it. So, I'll be interested to rewatch it and see what, if any, lead I had going underground, and then
Yeah.
where it fell apart.
I think it was around a 5 to 10 minute lead. I'd have to double check.
Yeah, that I figured it would have been a pretty decent lead, but then checked every spot in the game. So
Yeah. Rando gonna rando. Boss hunts can be a pain sometimes.
yeah, it was fun though. It was fun. I really enjoyed how I played it tonight compared to Monday for sure. I thought I did a number of really good things. Making sure Edge would go first on the gauntlet at the Odin spot, so that way I could just go mute knife, and take out the conjurers before they can bring anything up. So, a couple things to save time, even though they didn't pay off. I thought it was still, decently well done. So I'm happy with it.
And glad you had fun. That's kind of the reason we're all here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were there any other adjustments that you kind of thought about or made from Monday night?
Well, I mean, I was happy to see the edge early. I thought about approaching Baron in sooner. To try to get through that and get the character there. On Monday it was a Palom, and tonight was an Edge. But dove Hook instead of banging my head against that, and found that second Palom, which was like, okay, let's go up ordeals, let's get some levels, and I did a mini grind to get levels on those Paloms to make that Baron and easy to get that Edge and kind of go from there. So that was one major adjustment I made, was kind of take care of things on the front end before just banging my head against stupid stuff.
Yeah, that definitely worked out for you. I noticed that you were picking up some of those fights there. Couldn't tell whether it was to get Rydia a little bit of MP so she could cast that Bahamut that you had picked up at the Football Defense, or if it was just to get those Palons up to Virus too.
It was honestly more for Virus than it was for Bahamut. Because Bahamut at that point, until she gets, I think it's like level 20 or so, she's not going to be able to cast it more than once anyway. So really it was about getting the Palom, or at least a Palom, to level 19 to expedite things. Rydia, was nice with the Bahamut on the Kainatsu at the back attack. That was one shot and go. But the Virus overall is the key. That's something I started doing in 3-miss Zone, was taking random encounters on ordeals to get Paloms to Virus to just kind of blow the seed wide open. So that's kind of an older strat of mine I've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, it works sometimes, and it seemed to work tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say it's something that you like to do if you have multiple Paloms, or something that you're willing to invest the time for just a single Palom as well?
I'll invest it for a single Palom. He can single-handedly carry your early game, take care of the kid, and the kid will take care of you.
All right. Well, any last thoughts on these flags, these races? Anything you want to say to the community before we say goodnight?
I believe this was J. Brun TR's flag set, if I remember correctly. So
that is correct.
Thank you to J. Brun TR for bringing this all, to us so we can play it. Thank you to y'all both in the commentary booth tonight. Thank you to Leggy for restreaming, and thank you to Elias for tracking, and thank you everyone else behind the scenes. And GG to Porydrac tonight, and on stream GG to Harumph, McBain, and also Flurry. So GG's everyone. We'll catch y'all around and have a blessed night.
GG's, and you as well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, and last but definitely not least is Flurry 14, our 8th place finisher. GG's Flurry.
We can go with least for today.
I don't know, that was a pretty rude seed, and I think you get some credit for completing it no matter what.
You know, like, hey, there's 5 other bosses behind key items. Just gonna go ahead and pass on this here giant 30 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Oops.
that hurt a little bit as we were watching that slowly whittle down and realizing that it was either there or Zot 1.
It's too bad because like once I found Moonveils, I was like, we're done. Like, sea's over. And even that Milon fight was like, I don't know if I had Fire 3 at the time, but I was like, I just burn a Moonveil, bluff up a bajillion times with Palom, foe viruses. I have Ether 2s and Elixirs. That'll get me by.
Yeah, time-consuming but not difficult.
Yeah, not difficult. It'll take a little while, not difficult. And then Demist, as long as I have 4 party members, she can't kill my team. And I have a Spoon and an Excal to throw. So, that was a free fight too. But I was like, it's not going to be twice in a row, right?
I mean, that's what happened on Monday too. It was real trolly.
Like, I mean, between that and Ogo at the hook spot, Leggy, what did I do to you? But yeah, like, the Ogo was the thing. I don't know, like, how much later behind everybody else I was getting underground. It was definitely a little difficult to deal with that particular fight. When I saw the Moon Sparkle, I was like, just don't be Ogo. That's you can be Wyvern, even though it can't be. Be Wyvern, that's fine. Just don't be Ogo.
Yeah, Possimorpheus was the first restreamed runner underground, and the other 3 of you were all within a minute or 2 of each other.
Yeah. After the end. So the first time on Ogo, I was like, maybe I can sneak a Silk Web and recover, and couldn't. And then the next time, I was like, all right, well, as sort of a fast enough cast time, as long as I don't get like 2 fails in a row, I'll be fine. And
then you did.
What's the first thing that happened? 2 fails in a row, and I'm like, and then the third time, I wasn't getting fails, and I was like, oh, this looks really easy, doesn't it? So. Ogo gonna do what Ogo gonna do.
Yep, I appreciate the deployment of Reflect strats. Always neat to see it in a place where you don't expect it.
Yeah, like that that brought back a little bit of memories. Shout outs to Asuka for traumatizing me when it comes to Ogo and the hook route forever more. But yeah, that's not the party you want to have for that. That's a great party for just about everything else, but not for that. And yeah, that was rough. But other than that, I thought it was like a pretty straightforward seed. I think like they didn't give you a whole lot of branching options. The bosses were pretty easy to say no, I don't want to. So it was down to whether or not you were down with the giant. And today I was not, and I paid for it.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate reality of the boss hunt. It can be cruel and merciless.
Yeah, I mean, it only takes 1 in a bad spot, and the time shoots up by half an hour. And with 5 bosses, that's gonna happen a lot more than you expect. So it goes. Still a lot of fun. Like, it's you're not gonna place high in all of them. So as long as you're having fun playing, I'm having fun playing. So
yep, that's why we're here, to have fun.
Yeah, it's all good.
Any other questions you want to ask Antodale before we say goodbye for the night?
I don't think so. Unless you want to ask me some questions, Flurry. I guess I'm open to being interviewed as well.
Not to get off topic, but I don't know if Rivers is watching. As a Mets fan, is it safe for me to be excited?
I don't see him on the chat list right now, so you may or may not be safe, depending on your point of view.
Is it safe to be excited? I don't know. I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, like appreciate you guys taking all the time to volunteer for today. It's been it's been great to see like the amount of people we've had. turnout for the past year, and I think a lot of the clubs have been going really well. I think if you haven't been watching Legacy, you need to tomorrow, because it has been an absolute smash hit, and looking
Oh yeah,
forward to
the flag set's getting more and more chaotic every week.
Yeah, I think we had like 13. We had to make clear 8, right?
We had 11 objectives last week. It was horrible. We tortured our restreamers, and as a consequence, Zoe added required 8 so that we don't have to spend 3 hours on the seed.
Yeah, so like we if you have to do a clear 8 to downsize the objectives, things got a little crazy, and now we have like mystery objectives and songs to go with them. So like,
yeah,
anybody who's watching, like, if you haven't been down with the Legacy stuff, you really should check it out.
I just don't know what's going to happen when I clear that mystery objective. Am I going to like get a letter and that says open envelope C? And I don't know.
Yeah. There will be an owl sent to your window.
it's gonna be a carrier pigeon sent by Andadel that has the reward packed with a 3 out of 10 pun. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys.
Is a pretty high ranking.
I mean, you had a couple 4 out of 10s earlier today, so you're on the way up.
Well, I guess you'll have to. I'm curious to see how you're going to score all of our Quake puns tonight if you go back and watch the VOD.
Yes, it will. We'll see how many Bakas out of 10 you guys get.
All right,
yeah,
sounds good.
I appreciate you guys taking the time, and yeah, you guys have a good night.
Yeah, you too, Flurry.
So yeah, as Flurry mentioned, we have the Legacy Racing Club next time on Free Enterprise channel. That is, I believe, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific Time. Community race next week is called the Bard Appreciation Week. It has a number of flags that are centered around certain people's favorite minstrel, involving recruiting him, beating up his nemesis, the Water Hag, and doing some quests that are normally done while Edward is in the party in vanilla.
Yep, so it all should be a very fun time, but I believe we'll be heading over and saying hello and good evening to Apex Corvid, who is doing a little bit of Free Enterprise racing of their own. So again, thank you all for hanging out with us here tonight on Randomania. Thank you for Randomania for letting us use their channel and broadcast these events. They're a great partner. And thanks again all for watching, and hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Yep. Goodbye, everyone.